Listen to the silence. Close your eyes and imagine this exact spot where you are sitting right now, but 100 million years in the future. The buildings have been crushed into dust. The oceans have rearranged themselves. Every digital footprint you ever left, every photograph, every monument of human achievement has been completely erased by the relentless grinding of tectonic plates. You are forgotten, we all are. Or are we? Most living things vanish into the void, leaving absolutely nothing behind but a faint chemical whisper in the soil. But a select, incredibly lucky few achieve a grotesque, beautiful kind of immortality. They bypass the laws of decay. They become part of the earth itself. If you want to remain when the sun grows old, you have to die perfectly. This is your ultimate guide to cheating death. This is every way you can be fossilized. Chapter 1: The Biology of Disappearing. To understand how to become a fossil, you first have to understand the terrifying efficiency of the Earth's recycling system. Nature hates waste. From the very second your heart pumps its final beat, a countdown begins. The universe mobilizes an invisible army to erase you. Inside your gut, the trillions of microbes that spent a lifetime helping you digest your food suddenly run out of fuel. They turn on you. They begin to feast on your soft tissues from the inside out, a process known as putrefaction. Outside, scavengers pick up the scent on the wind. Blowflies can detect the smell of death from miles away, arriving within minutes to lay their eggs. Vultures, coyotes, and beetles tear at the remains, scattering your physical identity across the landscape. Within weeks, your muscles, your eyes, and your memories are gone. Within years, even your bones begin to bleach, dry out, and crumble into powder under the harsh ultraviolet rays of the sun. Rain washes the calcium away. You become dirt. To become a fossil is to commit an act of absolute biological rebellion. You are trying to stop a process that has been perfected over 4 billion years. To win this lottery, you must escape the scavengers. You must escape the oxygen. You must disappear from the world of the living before the world can eat you. It is a race against time, and the odds are millions to one. Chapter 2: The Stone Soul, Permineralization. If you want to leave a legacy like the great dinosaurs, the towering Brachiosaurus or the fearsome Tyrannosaurus rex, you must take the classic path. You must turn to stone. This is called permineralization, but it requires a catastrophic stroke of luck. Imagine walking along a prehistoric river delta. Suddenly, a massive flood sweeps you off your feet. You drown, and your body is violently dragged to the bottom of a lake. Before the scavengers can find you, millions of tons of fine, dark mud and silt wash over you, burying you deep. Down here, there is no oxygen. The bacteria of decay choke and die. The rotting process slows to a crawl. Over decades, your flesh eventually dissolves into the water, but your skeleton remains. Bone is incredibly porous, filled with microscopic holes and canals where marrow and blood vessels once lived. Now, the slow alchemy of the earth begins. Groundwater, saturated with dissolved minerals like silica, calcite, or iron, begins to seep through the sediment. It slowly percolates into the tiny empty spaces of your skeleton. Atom by atom, molecule by molecule, the minerals crystallize. The organic calcium is slowly swapped for inorganic rock. You are being transformed into a literal statue of yourself. As millions of years pass, the mud above you compresses under immense pressure, turning into solid sedimentary rock. You are now a physical sentence written in the Earth's crust. You are heavy. You are cold. You are eternal. You might stay trapped in the dark for 500 million years, waiting for a tectonic uplift to push you back to the surface. Chapter 3: The Golden Prison, Amber. But what if turning to stone isn't enough? What if you want your skin, your hair, the very cells of your body to remain perfectly intact? For that, you need the Golden Prison. You need amber. For a human, this is virtually impossible, but for the smaller creatures of the ancient world, it was a terrifying reality. Imagine a dense, humid forest during the Cretaceous period, dripping with thick, golden resin. The resin is a tree's immune system, bleeding out to cover a wound. A small lizard or an early wasp lands on the bark and gets its foot stuck. It struggles, but the more it fights, the more it is engulfed. A fresh drop of resin falls, completely sealing the creature in a sticky, airtight tomb. This sap is naturally antimicrobial. It instantly kills the bacteria that cause decay and dehydrates the body. Over millions of years, the tree dies, falls, and is buried. The resin polymerizes under heat and pressure, hardening into a semi-precious gemstone. Inside, time simply stops. The preservation is haunting. Paleontologists have found spiders still caught mid-pounce. We have found ancient ants with their delicate, translucent wings perfectly fanned out. We have even found pieces of dinosaur tails, still covered in primitive, downy feathers. In amber, you aren't just a skeleton. You are a moment of terror, frozen forever in a drop of prehistoric sunlight. Chapter 4. The Cold Eternity, Cryopreservation. Nature has a much faster, more brutal way to press the pause button on decay: deep freezing. In the high, unforgiving altitudes of the Alps, or across the desolate expanse of the Siberian tundra, the cold acts as an unyielding preservative. Let me tell you the story of Ötzi. It is 5,000 years ago. A man is desperately climbing the Ötztal Alps. He is exhausted, bleeding, fleeing an unseen enemy. An arrow pierces his shoulder, hitting a major artery. He collapses into a rocky ravine, his blood freezing almost instantly on the white snow. He dies completely alone, but the mountain refuses to let him vanish. A glacier swallows his body whole. The sub-zero temperatures halt the bacteria of decay dead in their tracks. When hikers stumbled upon Ötzi the Iceman in 1991, they didn't find a skeleton. They found a man. The ice had mummified his skin. It preserved his internal organs, the tattoos across his joints, and even the remnants of ibex meat from his last meal in his stomach. Staring at Ötzi is looking directly into the face of a ghost. But this form of immortality is an illusion. It requires an unbroken, continuous chain of cold. If the world warms, as it is doing right now at an alarming rate, the icy tomb cracks and melts. The clock of decay, paused for 5 millennia, simply starts ticking again. Chapter 5. The Deadly Chemistry, Peat Bogs. If you want to see an even more haunting preservation, you must look to the dark, acidic wetlands of northern Europe. The peat bogs. These environments are fundamentally hostile to life, and equally hostile to death. When a body is thrown into the black, stagnant waters of a bog, it enters an environment completely devoid of oxygen. But it's the chemistry of the sphagnum moss that performs the real magic. The moss releases a substance called sphagnone, highly acidic compounds that act exactly like the chemicals humans use to tan animal hides. The bog literally turns human flesh into leather. Consider the Tollund Man, discovered by peat cutters in Denmark. He died 2,400 years ago, hung by a braided leather noose that still rests tightly around his neck. Yet, his preservation is terrifyingly perfect. The acid in the bog slowly dissolved the calcium in his bones, making his limbs bendable like a rubber doll, but it perfectly preserved his soft tissues. Looking at the Tollund Man, you can see the rough stubble on his chin. You can see the delicate wrinkles around his eyes. He looks as though he is merely sleeping, dreaming a 2,000-year-old dream in a bed of wet moss. It is a level of intimacy that feels almost intrusive to witness. Chapter 6. The Black Mirror, Tar Pits. But as serene as the bog may seem, there is a trap far more violent waiting in the earth. The asphalt seeps, better known as the tar pits. Imagine the Brea Tar Pits in Los Angeles during the last ice age. Crude oil seeps up from deep underground fractures pooling on the surface. During the summer, it becomes a thick, bubbling, sticky mess. Rainwater often gathers on top of the tar, creating the deadly illusion of a fresh drinking pond. A thirsty mammoth steps into the water, and its feet sink into the black adhesive. It panics, thrashing wildly, but it is trapped. Its cries of distress echo across the plains, acting as a dinner bell for predators. Dire wolves and saber-toothed cats rush in for an easy meal, only to become trapped themselves in the sticky asphalt. The tar doesn't preserve the soft tissue, it strips the flesh away. But it saturates the bones in heavy crude oil, turning them a deep, lustrous, beautiful black. These bones are preserved in such a pristine chemical state that modern scientists can still extract DNA from them. They are a dark, oily monument to the brutal food chains of the ancient world. Chapter 7: The Modern Ghosts, Technofossils. So, we have stone, amber, ice, acid, and oil. But what about us? What is the legacy of modern humanity? In the Anthropocene, the geological age of humans, we are creating a completely new, terrifying kind of fossil. Geologists call them technofossils. We are no longer relying on our bones to tell our story. We are leaving behind billions of tons of synthetic materials that the Earth does not know how to digest. Millions of years from now, future explorers won't just find human skeletons, they will find plastiglomerates, strange new rocks formed by melted plastic bottles fused with beach sand. They will find a distinct radioactive layer of plutonium isotopes spanning the entire globe, a permanent scar left by our nuclear weapons tests. And if they look to the sky, they will see our ultimate fossils. The footprints left by Apollo astronauts on the moon, where there is no wind, no water, and no tectonic plates to erase them. We are the very first species in the history of the universe to fossilize our technology, our ambition, and our trash.